is going on, guys? This is DropThisBox, and I hope all of you guys out there are having a fantastic day today. And today we're going to look back at the American Dragon, Jake Long. And the funny thing about that is that this year in 2025, it marks the 20th anniversary of American Dragon, Jake Long. And it makes me feel very old because I still remember as a kid when this show came out for the first time. It only lasts 2 seasons, unfortunately, but still, I had a lot of fun watching this show, and I pretty much just want to reflect back on American Dragon Jake Long and just go over all of the things that got me fully immersed into the series. So this is going to be very fun to get into, so let's hop in and talk about this show right now. So back in 2005, American Dragon Jake Long gave us a fun mix of action, humor, and mythology. At its core, the show followed Jake Long, a Chinese-American teenager who could transform into a dragon. His job? Well, it was to protect the magical world hidden within New York City. From battling evil forces to balancing his school life, the show had a lot going on, but it never felt overwhelming. It struck a perfect balance between the excitement of being a dragon and the struggles of growing up. And what really made American Dragon stand out was how it blended different cultures into its story. Jake wasn't just a superhero figure, he was a kid juggling family expectations, friendships, and of course his own identity. His Chinese heritage played a big role in his journey, and the show didn't shy away from showing both the joys and struggle that came with it. This made the series feel unique compared to other cartoons at its time. Of course, there was plenty of action, and the way the show incorporated mythology was a huge draw. The Hunt's Clan, magical creatures, and the Dragon Council all added layers to the story, making the world feel lived in. It wasn't just about Jake fighting bad guys, it was about his growth, responsibilities, and learning what it truly meant to be a hero. The show handled these themes with a lot of heart, which is probably why so many people still remember it fondly. Looking back in 2025, it's easy to see why this show left such an impact. It had strong storytelling, engaging characters, and a world that felt rich and immersive. While it may have not had the longest run, it made a lasting impression on those who watched it. 2 decades later, it still holds up as a show that took risks and delivered something fresh to the world of animated television. And one of the biggest reasons American Dragon Jake Long stood out was because, of course, Jake himself. He wasn't your typical chosen hero. He was cocky, funny, and sometimes even reckless. But that's what made him relatable. He was a teenage boy trying to navigate life while carrying this enormous responsibility, and sometimes he made mistakes, but that's what made him feel real. Jake's personality was a huge part of the show's charm. He spoke in a mix of slang and confident swagger that made him feel different from other animated protagonists at its time. Some people thought his early personality was a little over the top, but it added to his character's growth. Over time, he learned to take things more seriously and embrace his role as the American Dragon. One of the best aspects of Jake's character was his relationships. Whether it was with his best friends, Trixie and Spud, his grandfather, or his love interest, Rose. These connections helped shape him into the hero he was meant to be. His dynamic with his grandfather was especially important, as he constantly guided him with wisdom while still allowing him to learn from his mistakes. It was a great mentor-student relationship that gave the show its heart. Looking back now, Jake still stands out as a fun, flawed, and ultimately inspiring character. He wasn't perfect, but that's what made him great. He had to work for his victories, learn from his failures, and grow into the dragon he was destined to become. That kind of character development is what makes a show memorable even after all of these years. One of the most talked about aspects of American Dragon was its drastic animation change between seasons. The first season had a unique, slightly more detailed art style, with characters looking more refined and expressive, but when season 2 rolled around, the show switched to a much simpler, more exaggerated style. This change was divisive among fans. The reasoning behind the shift was reportedly to make animation smoother and action scenes more dynamic, but many viewers felt it lost some of its original charm. Characters looked different, and for some, it took time to adjust. The new style was a bit closer to what you expect from Disney Channel cartoons at its time, but for those who love the original look, it was a tough pill to swallow. That being said, the animation shift didn't affect the show's storytelling. If anything, Season 2 took the narrative in even bolder directions. The stakes felt higher, character arcs deepened, and Jake's journey became more intense. The art may have changed, but the heart of the show remained strong. It's interesting to see how the animation debate is still discussed. Some prefer the Season 1 look, while others appreciate Season 2's. Either way, it's a reminder of how passionate fans were about the show, and that in itself speaks volumes about its impact. For all of the love American Dragon received, it ended after just 2 seasons. The cancellation was disappointing, especially because Season 2 built up so much momentum. The show was finding its rhythm, and it felt like it had so much more to explore, but like many great shows, it was cut short before reaching its full potential. One of the biggest reasons for the cancellation was likely Disney's focus on newer projects. The mid-2000s were a competitive time for animated shows, and Disney was shifting gears towards different content. American Dragon had a loyal fan base, but it may have not been pulling in the kind of numbers Disney wanted to keep it going. The ending itself, while satisfying in some ways, still left a lot of questions. Jake's battle with the Hunts clan wrapped up quickly, and we never got to see what happened to some of the show's key characters in the long run. Fans have spent years speculating what a 3rd season could have looked like, which just proves how much people still care about this show. Even 20 years later, American Dragon remains a beloved series that many wish had gotten more time to shine. It had all the right ingredients for a long-lasting show, but sometimes even the best ones don't get the chance to go to the distance. That just makes it even more special for those who got to experience it when it first aired. 2 decades later, American Dragon Jake Long is still remembered fondly by those who grew up watching it. It was a unique blend of action, comedy, mythology, and left a lasting impression. The show wasn't just entertaining, it had heart, strong character arcs, and an appreciation for the culture that set it apart. Even though it didn't get as many seasons as some of the other Disney animated series, it still had a dedicated fan base. Over the years, people have campaigned for a revival, hoping that Disney might bring Jake Long back in some form. While the reboot's happening these days, it's not impossible to imagine American Dragon returning in some way. Looking back in 2025, it's fun to see how the show has stood the test of time. Whether it's through nostalgia, fan discussions, or just the pure love people still have for Jake and his adventures, the series continues to have a presence. It may have not have been the biggest show of its time, but for those who watched it, it was something special. American Dragon Jake Long was one of those shows that didn't need a long run to make an impact. It captured the essence of what made the early 2000s animation great: old storytelling, memorable characters, and a world that felt truly alive. Even after 20 years, it's a show worth looking back on. And I'm one of those people that had the opportunity to watch American Dragon all those years ago when I was a kid, flipping through all these different kinds of channels to entertain myself, because whenever I came home from school, I always wanted to watch cartoons if I was eating a snack or after I was done doing my homework. When I just sat on the couch and just relaxed for the rest of the night, I always watched American Dragon Jake Long, as well as other cartoons as well, like I said, to entertain myself. So I'm happy that I was able to form some kind of relationship with American Dragon. So I was able to make this video today just explaining my overall experience and the sort of legacy that American Dragon left behind it. But now I'm gonna ask you guys, how did you feel about American Dragon? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you guys have any memories that you guys want to discuss with me in the comments? Be sure to do so down below. And if you guys enjoy the content on this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links to those are located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I'm dropping a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.